Hello everybody, my name is Laura. You're watching the Beanbird 2 channel where we talk about testimonies and the goodness of God. And today I want to talk about unshakable. The kingdom of God is unshakable, and the work of God that He does in us doesn't return void, and He wants to build unshakable fruit of the Spirit that is in us that we can live out. And He wants us to be rooted and trusted in His faith, and rooted in the truth. And so I do have a little story. When I was growing up, I used to really like riding bikes, and I would take trips with my dad where we'd do big bike trails and we would ride around the neighborhood together. And I would ride my bike by myself in my free time. And I always wanted my mom to go for bike rides with me. Like after dinner, we could do an after dinner bike ride, but she wanted to. She liked the idea of it, but since she was overweight, she always felt like it was something she couldn't do because she was overweight. And I would say, it's okay, Mom, don't let that hold you back. Just, get out there, let's be active, let's go do stuff together. And she would just kind of let that create an obstacle for her to do that. So she would then tell me, like, next year we'll go for that bike ride. And so the next year would come and she would say next year, and then the next year she'd say next year. And so finally I was into my teenage years, and the next year just wasn't coming. And I was like, Mom, you always say next year, and then it's next year, and then you say next year. And we're never going to get to ride bikes. We need to just do it. Like, don't put it off. Don't wait for something. Like, live your life now. Don't just sit and let it, like, every year pass by and just more time goes by and nothing changes. And I really wanted her to, spend time with me, and it would be good to get out, and then it would also make her more active. So anyway, one year she told me, next year for real, I promise we're going to do it. So when the spring came, she went to the store and she picked out a bike, and I was super excited. And she bought a new bike from a shop. And I thought, this is it. This is the one time that we're really going to get out there. We're really going to do it. And she's like, okay, we're going to do it because I promised you, and we're going to do it no matter what. So we went for this bike ride, and we didn't get like a mile from the house, and somebody hurled out a comment, and I think it was just some teenagers that were walking. Our house was kind of close to Dairy Queen, so a lot of people would walk on that road to get to the Dairy Queen. So there's like a group of teenagers, and as we were riding our bikes, this kid, probably not even really thinking about it, offhandedly yells out, "Hey, look, a cow on a bicycle." Well, my mom was humiliated. And then when we got home, she put the bike in the garage, and she said, and I'm never going to ride that bike again. And I was devastated because I knew how many years went into that day happening. And it finally happened, and there was somebody there to just say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And that kind of, it struck her heart. It hurt her heart in a bad way. And I think about how the enemy sometimes will want to like throw those roadblocks out at us when we're rolling, or maybe when we get started on something, and all of a sudden, you start feeling like there's all this discouragement or obstacles that come in your way that keep you from doing or starting something that you have in your mind. And I think Satan is just always looking for ways to stop something before it gets going. How can I thwart this? If I take care of it when it's a baby, then I won't have to handle it later. And we see this with, when Jesus was a baby, and they were killing all the 2-year-old boys to try to stop Jesus from fulfilling his ministry. And we saw it again with Moses, and those babies were attempted to be killed so that Moses wouldn't live out the future that the Lord had for him. And I think a lot of times Satan tries to come in and to stop things from getting started. And it could just be a comment, it could be some other discouragement that makes you feel like you can't do it, or whatever it is that God has put on your heart for you to do. And I think sickness too can often be used for this, kind of like little roadblocks that keep us from doing what we intend to do, or maybe what God has put in your heart to do. And I think that, God's kingdom is unshakable, and he wants us to be unshakable. And a lot of times when bad things happen to Christians, God uses those things for the good. And so it can feel very uncomfortable to go through periods of shaking. But a lot of times when we go through those shaking type things, it rattles things loose that don't belong in your life. It could be a bad habit, it could be maybe you change careers, or just changes, things that move to the side, and then we can prioritize what's lasting and eternal and important, and in our relationships. And we know that what God starts in us, he's going to finish, and he's going to make that every bad thing that we go through work together for our benefit, for our good in the long run. And so I just want to say, like, don't let those little things stop you from moving forward and doing what you are trying to do, whether it's your ministry, or maybe it's just raising your family or school, just to keep trying, keep working at it, and keep praying. And I have this verse here in Hebrews about the unshaken kingdom. I just wanted to share. It says, "And his voice shook the earth then, but now he has promised, saying, Yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heaven." This expression, "yet once more," denotes the removing of those things which can be shaken, as of created things, so that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, since we receive a kingdom which cannot be shaken, let us show gratitude, by which we may offer to God an acceptable service with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. And the goal, it's really hard, right? We're just honest, it's really hard. And things can happen that are discouraging, but I think it helps when these things happen to keep the perspective in mind that this comment that was given to my mom at just the right time, like, that was meant to slow her down. It was meant to discourage her. It was meant to Satan doesn't want to see us moving, right? He wants us to be frozen. He wants us to be in fear. He wants us to be just like unmotivated. And so you see that in like discouragement or depression, where people kind of get frozen. And because when we move as believers, it's dangerous to Satan, because things start happening. It is a spiritual war. And when we're making advances, Satan's going to do whatever he can to stop that from happening. And so just imagining a battle scene where it's like, okay, we're taking ground, we're moving forward. He's going to be putting roadblock. And sometimes when you have like that perspective to kind of see those roadblocks for what they are, you can look at it and be like, okay, I see what's going on here. I see what Satan's doing. Like, I'm going to pray about this. I'm going to get other people to pray for me. I'm not going to let this stop me from doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep going strong. And so I think it all comes down to trying to keep that heavenly perspective, and try to recognize the enemy's attacks when you see them. And don't let that negative thing, whatever that roadblock is, keep you from moving forward. Be unshakable, and remember that God's kingdom is unshakable. And every time you're shaken and you feel rattled and it's uncomfortable, just know that God is going to shake things loose that can fall away, that aren't lasting, and the things that remain, those are lasting. And so he cares for you, he loves you, and he's going to do all things with you in mind and for your benefit.